One night there was a running battle with Molotov cocktails flying about and people with guns and descending down ropes from helicopters and hand combat on top of this old fort. It's been a very colourful period in its history.
Well, what do I do? Yeah. My name is Michael Sealand. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Avon Co. and my family owns Sealand.
Okay, so what can you tell me about the history of Sealand?
The history of Sealand? Oh, Sealand goes right back to 1966 when my family first took over the fortress. We'd been in the pirate radio business before that on a fortress in the Thames Estuary called the Knockjohn Forts. And the government brought in the Marine Offences Act, which changed all the rules and regulations, the laws, the territorial limits. And my father thought, well, we'd better look for another fortress outside UK limits. And we came across this Fort Ruff's Towers. We took it over Christmas Eve 1966. And then my father had this bizarre idea of turning it into an independent state, and which he did in 1967.
Still see there where the dartboard and many millions of hours are spent playing darts.
Yeah, they must have. I mean, if it's bad enough for 4 people up here, I can imagine a whole team contingent.
Well, they were out here for quite a long time as well. There's 4 floors of accommodation in each leg. With generator room above. Then below that you'd have the armoury, and then an open void where the fuel and water was stored. So you can imagine 100 men in 4 rooms. It's not very nice at all.
No,
pretty unpleasant.
They must have gone crazy.
I think some of them did. Yeah. I think that the story I heard that the guys that were actually out here were people that had been on shore-based gun emplacements and disappeared with the local girls and got drunk and God knows what else and absconded. So they sent them out here as punishment. Ah. Now that's the story I've heard actually from somebody that served out here, and he did 2 weeks and it sent him mad. And there was somebody that jumped over the side at one point and committed suicide.
Really? So
yes.
In a sense, Sealand is a kind of a prison almost. I mean,
I never said that. Oh, it could be.
I mean,
yes,
if you haven't got a boat, for instance.
Oh, you're pretty well stuck. It's like Alcatraz. There's no escape. Yeah. There's no good jumping over the side. You break your neck when you hit the water, and you'll end up somewhere in France or something if you're lucky.
Have you ever been trapped on here because of bad weather conditions?
Oh, frequently. That's quite normal in the winter.
What's the longest you've been stuck on?
6 months.
6 months?
But that was by choice. I just came out here and got on with my life and just wanted to sort of do a few experiments and things that I was doing. So I was quite happy just sat out here for 6 months.
Experiences on Sealand. Particularly, I mean, there was an occasion I believe you were held hostage at one point.
Yeah, so, I was held hostage for about 4 days, locked up in a steel room, no food, no water, only some tiny portholes to see through, no windows. Yeah, interesting, yeah.
What were the events leading up to?
My father went to Austria to meet some German and Dutch business group that he was meant to be doing some business with, and I think that the typical German point of view at the time was, well, if it's an independent state, why contribute to the Bates family's coffers? We'll just take it off of them. So they tried to instigate a coup. So I was actually on Sealand on my own when this helicopter turns up, and the guy that came down on the winch was a German tax consultant of all people, and when I was talking to him, another fella came down and they showed me a telex that was meant to be for my father, and I said, go back to Holland, come back tomorrow with my father, and yeah, you can take a certain amount of control. And he said, oh no, whatever. Anyway, by the way, ended up in this room. The guy stepped outside the door, slammed the door, and put a camera tripod to the door handle. Steel room, steel door handle.
That's about 4 metres from the seabed. Back there's another, or whatever, 10 feet, there's another chamber directly underneath here, which is actually on the seabed itself. This originally would have been the armoury in here, where all the shells were stored for the main guns and the Bofor guns, and this in here would have been a store, which now is our jail.
And Michael was telling us he spent some time here himself.
He got stuck in here. Yeah. Logical place to have it really, we'll get the top.
So how many people have you had in the prison over the years?
Now there was a German and a Dutch guy that boarded us at one point. They were put in here and held prisoner for a few months. They were used, I think Roy used them as butlers more than anything else. He made them clean his shoes and cook for him and whatever. And finally they were released.
Is that the only two you've ever had?
Yeah, the only two, yeah. Yeah. We don't make a habit of it.
So then it was decided we'd go to Holland. So we went to Holland, and I got back to England a couple of days later, I suppose. And by which time my father got back just after that from Austria. And we planned to go out in a semi-inflatable boat and scale the fortress and take it back again. But the weather was bad, and we got a phone call from Germany telling us there was going to be 10 ex-Belgian paratroopers with Uzi submachine guns going to reinforce the position the next day and all this kind of stuff. And if we were going to do something, we'd have to do it now, straight away. So I told them it was basically impossible with the weather and couldn't be done. Put the phone down, and we phoned a friend of ours, John Crewdson, who'd flown in 7 or 8 James Bond films inside a warehouse, a really brilliant pilot. And we asked him he'd take us out there, and he said yes straight away. So we took the doors off his helicopter and went out at dawn the next day, slid down ropes onto the top, took it back.
How did you take it back?
Well, there was a guy sleeping in a chair, much like us in a chair. He was dozing in a chair. As we came, we were flying a metre above the sea, just breaking daylight, and he told me, this fellow, that he woke up and the first thing he saw was a helicopter appear from under the platform, and it frightened the shit out of him. And the pilot put it in the hover between the two 60-foot masts on the top, and we were standing outside the skids as it came out from under the platform. We threw the ropes down and slid down the ropes.
And once you got on board, were you just able to, were you able to remove the people around there?
They were armed. We were armed. We basically overwhelmed them. There was a couple of shots fired, and we ended up, we locked them up in the magazine, like the ammunition magazine down the bottom of the tower, where we sorted the place out. They'd done an awful lot of damage.
The rest of your life there?
No. Well, you do, we shall see. I came back about 18 months ago after about an 8-year gap. I just want to see the project work. That's my plan. We'll see how it goes.
Well, you've got that experience.
Well, I seem to have. I'm probably unemployable now. Institutionalised or something. That is the only problem being out here. You have to keep abreast of what's going on in the outside world, or you might as well be in prison. You know, it really is. It's a very difficult one. I don't watch a lot of television normally, but I watch a lot of news. I listen to the radio an awful lot, and that's how I keep sane. And it's very, very important, because you just haven't got the input. Otherwise, talking to one person for 2 weeks, you might as well be on a submarine. There's no communication with the outside world, so it's very important that you actually watch and listen an awful lot and see what's going on in the outside world. And if you don't, you might as well not go back home, because you're not going to fit in the society outside.